So you want to know how to make silver, but you don't want to follow the meta? Well, I got you. Here's 5 underrated silver making methods that are relaxing and profitable that you can start today. Stop. We don't have time for that. You want to see the methods, so let's do that. Before we get started though, I want to ask for a quick, really quick, small little favor. If you're not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe down below and click that notification bell for future uploads. And be sure to follow me on twitch.tv/Xpeigh as I stream almost every single week on Thursday and Saturday. That's it. Let's move on. So first up on our list, we have expeditions. Now, the only prerequisite for this really is that you have a good gear set, because if you don't, you're going to die the first second, and that's not going to be good for literally either you or your team if you decide to go in a group. Now, there are 3 possible expedition types. You have individual, you have sellsword, and you have hardcore. Hardcore expeditions are pretty much like Mythic Plus dungeons in World of Warcraft. There are certain levels to it from 1 to 18, and with each level there is a certain percentage increase of silver, loot, and fame. Obviously the higher the better. So these expeditions can be started at the Expedition Master in literally any city. And the really good thing about this that I actually really like is that you don't have to be in a predetermined group. You can queue up for an expedition and then you can just go into it when the group is ready. There are a total of 3 roles that you can choose from: tank, DPS, and healer. Obviously, that's the same in any MMORPG, and that's going to be the same here. If you want to go as a tank, you have to wear plate armor, and it is also recommended to wear a tank weapon, such as a one-handed mace or anything like that. If you want to go support or healer, your only sort of objective is to heal and shield your teammates and to make sure that everyone survives. To get this role, you have to have a healing staff, either holy or nature, that's up to you. And it's also recommended to wear cloth armor. And then the last role is DPS. You can wear literally anything, and you can have literally any weapon type. Everything else fits into this category. Now, the average time it takes for one of these expeditions to be completed is around 20 to 30 minutes if you are doing group content, and it's around 15 to 20 minutes if you're doing solo content. So it's relatively fast, but at the same time, you're not really getting as much silver as you would in the open world. But if you're not really ready or you don't really want to go into the open world, this is literally perfect for you. The rule that applies for solo dungeons regarding weapon durability decreasing 5% when you die applies here as well, so it is almost virtually costless to do these expeditions, and it is actually pretty fun. So I would recommend it if you are not ready or you don't want to go into the open world. The second method is actually much more common and many more people do it, but people still like to engage in other activities on this game. So this will be open world farming. The only prerequisite for this is that you have to have a good enough armor set so that you don't have to spend a lot on repairs. And if you're going to lethal zones, be able to rebuy this set at least 5 times so that you don't get into a predicament where you're like, oh, I can't go back out there. I don't have enough silver to rebuy. Don't be that guy, because it's going to make your life a lot more challenging and it's going to just ruin your experience in the game. Open world mobs and open world farming is literally what it means. You farm aggressive mobs that drop silver in the open world. Now, there are different regions and different loot multipliers, combat fame multipliers, stuff like that. In yellow zones, the loot multiplier is only 33%, whereas if you go to a black or a lethal hellgate, that's going to be 160%. Now, your main focus is probably silver because you clicked on this video thinking, oh, what are some underrated silver making methods? So that's what you're going to care about, most likely. But if you want to also increase your combat fame, black zones are one of the best zones if you don't want to go to Stalker Corrupted Dungeons. Because in black zones, the combat fame multiplier is actually 320%. Stalker Corrupted Dungeon is 410%, but you have to actually get into a Stalker dungeon. Whatever. We care about open world. Black zones, like percentage-wise, give the most loot, but red zones give similar percent and they're somewhat safer. Now, the reason for this is actually because you see how many players are flagged for PvP in red zones, and you don't have that in black zones. So in red zones, if you see that there are 5, 10, whatever, how many players flagged up for PvP, you know that it's probably not going to be safe, so there is a much higher risk involved. But if you see 0, you're very free to farm, and the loot multiplier is still 125%, which is quite a bit. If you want to profit maximize, go to black zones, but if you want to still make profit, but you still want to, stay somewhat safe and you don't really want to lose your gear because you're maybe starting out and you don't have a lot of silver, you go to red zones. Now, there isn't really much else to say about this other than go out and kill some mobs that drop silver. So let's just move on to the third one. So our third method is actually laborers, believe it or not. The only prerequisite for this is to have an island and higher tier laborers because, you know, as with literally everything in Albion, profit increases with tier. If you want to have gathering laborers, the prospector is the first most profitable, the cropper is the second most profitable, and the gamekeeper is the third most profitable. If you want to have a crafting laborer, then I would recommend that you go for a tinker because one, it's the best one by far because it makes metal bars, planks, cloth, and leather. And there's no two, so it's just one. If you want to have mercenaries, they actually give you silver straight up because they get silver from killing mobs that drop silver. So you're basically automating the process that I said in the previous method when you're going out and killing open world mobs because the mercenary will do it for you. There's a little bit of a twist here. You have to keep and maintain the laborer's happiness level because a higher happiness gives better yield. Now, you can increase happiness with same tier trophies, so trophies that are of the same tier as the laborer, a same tier table, and a bed, of course, of the same tier. So if you have a tier 4 laborer, let's say, you have to have tier 4 trophies, a tier 4 table, and a tier 4 bed. It's really simple. And the yield actually increases with happiness level, and also if you have higher laborers, their base happiness also increases. Now, the table that I'm showing you here is fame awarded per journal based on 100% yield, and you will see that the higher the tier of a journal is and the higher the tier of the laborer is, the more fame you're awarded. This is just a bit of useful information. Basically, if you want to have sort of like an automated crafting process or an automated gathering process or an automated process for killing mobs in the open world, laborers are literally the way to do it. However, the investment is quite high because you have to get the materials, you have to get the trophies, the beds, the tables, the actual island you have to upgrade. So there's a lot that goes into it, but it is definitely laid back and relaxed, and you can just do literally anything else while these guys are going to go and get your stuff ready for you. The fourth method might sound like a quick suggestion, but I assure you it is actually a legitimate way to make silver, and it's not really talked about that much. I think it should be talked about more often, but who knows. This is trade missions. Now, the prerequisites for this are the following. You have to have a set amount of faction hearts in order to start these contracts. You have to have 3, 7, or 15 for minor, medium, and major contracts respectively. You have to stay below 100% weight throughout the entire duration of your trade mission, and you have to flag up for your faction. The entire process of this is literally that you transport your faction hearts from your city to a smuggling post that the game is going to give you. So it is literally so extremely easy and simple, and apparently you can make around 750,000 to 1 million silver just for like an hour or something of your time. So it's literally as easy as it comes. The wiki actually recommends, the Albion wiki actually recommends the following mounts: either Spectral Dire Boar for the invisibility, a grizzly bear, or a saddled winter bear. Now, of course, if you're a baller, you can go with a freaking mammoth, but that's for the more rich sort of players who have nothing to do with their time because they're so busy being rich. But yeah, it's a really, really simple method, and you can literally start it today. Just go and buy your faction hearts, flag up for your faction, and deliver these hearts to the said outpost, and try not to die. Now, our fifth and final method includes a little bit of finessing, and that is because you're going to be playing the market. The prerequisite for this is kind of a big one, but you know, it's whatever. You have to have around 10 million silver when you start to be able to do this effectively, and you can get this from open world mobs, solo dungeons, literally anything. So just gather that first 10 million, and then you will be able to finesse the market, and it's going to be very worth it, trust me. Your plan of attack is pretty simple. You have to go to Carleon completely naked because you can't really go there any other way. Duh. Use the travel planner and record the prices there for lower tier weapons, around tier 4 and 5, and then go to Bridgewatch, Mortlock, or Limhurst. You set buy orders or buy the items directly off the market. The buy orders do allow for higher profit because you're setting a price that you want to buy at instead of buying on the market, which might be above the world average. So after you've got these buy orders, you transport these weapons to Carleon using a good enough mount so that you will not die to gankers, and so you can safely transport these weapons. Once you're there, you're going to sell order these weapons, And according to Reddit user this thing, profit can be between 1 to 2 million if you're not risking that much. Now, this entire guide was made by him as well, so I will leave a link to him down below. And again, it is Reddit user this guy. But playing the market really doesn't have to give you 1 to 2 million silver. You can also make 10, 20, whatever million silver you want. It really depends on the amount of risk you're willing to put into transporting your items, the amount of silver you're willing to invest at first, and really the amount of finessing and analyzing you want to do on the game, or in the game, on the specific city's markets. The Reddit user that I mentioned Bridgewatch, Martlock, or Limhurst mainly. I am unsure as to why, but he says that those bring the highest profit, so I will trust him on that because he's probably more of a veteran than I am. But yeah, with that, we actually came to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you guys learned some things, because I actually sure did when I was researching these different types of methods, these underrated silver making methods. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's been an absolute blast to make, and I hope that you guys will take some of these things and apply them in your day-to-day gaming life. But with that, it's been me, Xpeigh, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks on Saturday. Adios.